In this problem, we're given that this little formula right here, s equals 16t times square root of t, will give us the distance s that a car travels in t seconds. Okay, so distance traveled equals 16 times time that's passed times square root of the time that's passed. Okay, and so we want to find the average speed of the car in inches per second, so average speed over the first t seconds. So average speed of the car over the first t seconds after it starts. So how do we find average values in general? We basically take the slope from start to finish. And what's interesting is that even if you have a graph that isn't linear, that looks like this or something, if you just take this point and find the slope, that will still actually equal your average, average slope throughout the thing. So if this was like an object moving, this would still give you your average speed, even if the graph looks like this. So in this case, what does that mean we need to do? Well, you basically just do like y minus y over x minus x. So what would that look like in this case? That would be y minus y, that would be, let's start with the finishing point. So your distance traveled, however far you go, will be 16t times square root of t, right? So if you travel for t seconds, your final distance will be this. Subtract from it your initial distance. What is it? It's 0, right? Because you can even think about it as like, because t would be 0 at the very start, all of this would go to 0, so minus 0, so that's your y. Over, what's your x? So your change in x is your change in time. At what time does that speed occur? It occurs at whatever time t you end at, right? At what time does the start occur? At time 0. So at time 0 we have 0 distance, and then at time t, whenever we decide to finish, you will have this distance given by this formula. So that's why we did y minus y over x minus x. That'll give us our average slope, our average speed. So that equals 16t square roots of t over t. The two t's right here cancel out because it's all being multiplied together, so you can just divide things out like that. And that gives us a final average velocity, or speed, sorry, of 16 times the square root of t. So that'll be v.